2023 is potentially turning into a golden year for gaming, and let's hope I haven't jinxed things there. Of course, there's been plenty of slip-ups along the way, but there's also been a whole load of good content, and this year's Gamescom has had an especially interesting opening. Alan Wake 2, Homeworld 3, a brand new Cyberpunk update all give hope for the next few months and years of gaming. So in this video I'm going to ramble a little bit, so stick around if you do like that type of thing, and we're going to discuss some of the things that were shown at Gamescom. Specifically, I really want to highlight a few games that stood out to me, and I'm kind of wondering if, hopefully, fingers crossed, we finally are at a bit of a crossroads for gaming in general. Just maybe we're going to see a whole bunch of quality games released. I'm going to talk about this further into the video once I've had a bit of a look at some of these trailers, but meanwhile, why not let me know what you think about the general direction of gaming in 2023 in the comments section below. To start with then, Alan Wake 2. Now, the original game came out all the way back in 2010 and was widely very well received. In fact, a game I also very much enjoyed. More recently, we've seen a game in the shared universe called Control, another game that, in my opinion, was rather excellent. Alan Wake 2 then takes pages out of both the original game as well as Control, at least based on what we can see of the limited sections of gameplay from the current trailer. Now, what makes Alan Wake so interesting is its self-referential nature. The story follows an author who has got stuck within his own novel, or at least that's what he believes. It's a reality warping story then, where very little can be taken for granted, and you just never know what's going to be around the corner. If Remedy Entertainment can match the level of quality they achieved with Control, then this one should be very good indeed. It's set to release on the 27th of October this year. Now, for those of you interested in a more combat-focused game, the latest title from Software is Armored Core 6, and it's right around the corner, in fact, launching this Friday. Now, I'm going to completely level with you at this point. I've never actually played an Armored Core game, yet this one really is catching my attention. Mechs are always great, aren't they? Who doesn't like mechs? And the recent success of Elden Ring, which was a quality game, really does put From Software in a great position. Of course, Armored Core is a very different type of game to Elden Ring, or indeed Souls-like titles in general. But that said, just like those other titles, combat is the main focus here. Now, a bunch of YouTubers around the internet have had access to Armored Core 6 a little bit early on. They got a private demo, and from all accounts, their reporting on the title is very good. They're very happy with what they've seen so far. I'm definitely going to be trying this one out myself, so do let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see some video coverage for this title. Sticking with the genre of fighting games for now, we come to Black Myth: Wukong. Now, visually, this one looks exceptional. There's some really great art direction going on here. So what you see on the screen right here is the gameplay trailer that was released yesterday at Gamescom, but also a few days before that, a rather extensive gameplay session, around about 20 minutes long, was released on the YouTube channel Gamecores. I'll link both of these in the video description below. Now, it's been pretty interesting seeing this new footage, because everything has been pretty quiet on the game for quite a while now, aside from its initial announcement some while back. The title is still scheduled to release at some point in 2024, so it's not coming out anytime soon. But it does seem that everything is coming together rather nicely with this title. It's certainly one to be keeping an eye on, especially if you like those epic scale boss fights. And whatever way you cut it, it certainly looks like this one is going to be a very tough game, tough as nails. Jumping from the world of myth and fantasy, we arrive into the world of science fiction with Homeworld 3. Now, this is a highly anticipated title from the classic RTS games Homeworld and Homeworld 2, and I guess we shouldn't forget Cataclysm and Deserts of Karak either. Now, the trailer doesn't really show us too much in the way of gameplay when it comes to Homeworld 3, but one thing it does do is confirm the title will contain a campaign. Just as with the previous titles, it seems as though the story is going to be a major focus for this. In the game then, we see Imogen Sajet taking on the role of Fleet Command. This was a role previously taken by Karen Sajet. Now, Karen is mentioned in the trailer, although it's not entirely clear initially what has happened to her. Whichever way the story unfolds, at any rate, it's very clear that Homeworld 3, based on the trailer at least, seems to bear all the hallmarks of the Homeworld franchise. Just look at that combat. This one is releasing in February 2024. Now, a bit closer in time to this is the release of Cyberpunk 2077's expansion, Phantom Liberty. This is coming in September. It also comes alongside the latest update for the game that will be available to every single owner of Cyberpunk, and this will greatly overhaul the game in many different ways. So between the expansion, Phantom Liberty, and the update 2.0, there's going to be a lot of new content, and this includes new districts, dozens of new story quests and gigs, vehicle combat and mounted weaponry, revamped police system, very nice. We know very well that the police weren't too great before as they kind of teleported in, so very keen to see how that one plays out. Also can expect to see combat AI overhaul, endless dynamic events and missions, redesigned cyberware and perks, all new relic skill trees and abilities, and an all new level cap. Now, we all know how things unfolded back during the initial release of Cyberpunk 2077, but it really feels that CD Projekt Red have moved the game on dramatically since then. And Update 2 really seems to represent the full potential of what Cyberpunk can be. Now, there's obviously potentially hundreds of hours of gameplay in Cyberpunk 2077, if not hundreds of hours, then certainly many dozens of hours. And this is going to be releasing in the same month as Starfield, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of gameplay to be had, and we're going to have to pick and choose what and when we play. Of course, talking of Starfield, there's also been a whole lot of information and new trailers released for that game as well. I won't be talking about it in this particular video, as I've already released another video today on that subject. You can find that linked below. If not, do check out the videos page on my channel where you can find the latest on Starfield. So I've just included a few of the highlights that really stood out to me from day one on Gamescom. Now, gaming conventions have been largely a bit mute this year, especially with the disappearance of E3 more or less in its entirety. And that means that Gamescom is perhaps the largest gaming event of the year, and it really does show. I mean, being brutally honest here, I'm not a massive fan of gaming shows. They can be a bit hit and miss, but I always like to keep an eye on the latest releases. And this year I've kind of got some high hopes as to the direction of, well, at least a part of the gaming industry. 2023 certainly has had its fair share of misfires over the years so far, with a lot of controversy around certain titles. Most notably lately, Diablo 4 has been a bit problematic, shall we say. But that said, I think 2023 has also been one of the best years in gaming for a very, very long time, as well as, I guess we should add in the later part of 2022 as well. God of War, Ragnarok, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, the Deadspace Remake, Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 4, the new Street Fighter game. There's a lot of games that many people have been very happy with, and they've all achieved a lot of success, and deservedly so. Now, whether this is all just one big anomaly, as some developers are trying to kind of hint at, or if the games industry is finally at last heading in a better direction, only time will tell. One thing I do know is that the games I've seen so far this year, the ones I've mentioned, specifically Baldur's Gate 3, but also those other titles as well, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom was one I also enjoyed greatly. All these games have been really, really good, and in fact I'd go as far as saying that they're some of the best games I've played for quite a few years at this point. Gamescom then has shown that just maybe this trend is going to continue, and this selection of gameplay and trailers I've included in this video hopefully are going to head in that same direction as well. Do let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.